Hello YouTubers and fellow hams. Well, I'm here with an update on the Echophone. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but those tubes are glowing. See that? In fact, I'll have to touch the antenna to make myself the antenna.
Good for joining us. Before we let you go, Jason, what was the worst training camp experience you've had to cover? Can you shed some light on maybe a place that...
Yep, it's working. It's alive. Yay! Now I have to do the alignment. But first, let me reposition the camera, and I'll shut the radio off and flip her over, and I'll show you the wiring that I finished up. And you can see the speaker's got a new wire too, by the way. I've replaced these ratty old nasty wires that were just hanging off a bit and not even soldered in place. They weren't even soldered. That's just bizarre to me. But yeah, the speaker wire's been replaced. Let me flip it over and we'll show you the rest of the wiring. Well, here we're looking at the bottom of the chassis. Hopefully that's in focus. I've got a new camera and I am learning how to use it. So let me reposition that slightly. All right. So, new filter caps here and here. There's a small one down in this corner for the audio. Power resistors. The thing's been on for an hour and that's not even warm. That's not warm at well. You could barely tell that there's any heat there at all. That's a 25 watt 7.5K resistor where there used to be a 5 watt. So yeah, it's not going to generate any heat. It's barely warm. Over here we've got a 1.5 amp fuse and a fuse holder. So that's been wired into the power switch. The hot comes into the power switch, comes back to the fuse holder, and then the rest of the radio is fused. Yay! Neutral goes right to the chassis, and that's the neutral, and we are using a properly polarized plug. One blade is wider than the other, so as long as the owner's house is wired properly and he plugs this into a polarized outlet, he'll be fine. No hot chassis. 0 volts on the chassis when it's plugged in. Oh, what else did I do? Okay, I replaced some of the wiring to the power or the audio transformer here that was ratty and nasty. Routed it clean. One of them had to come up here to the switch for the earphones. So we replaced that. We regrounded the audio shield here. Of course, all the capacitors have been replaced. These Nishikon caps in place of the nasty old wax caps. The rubber grommets in the corners, or that suspend the chassis, have all been replaced. So fresh rubber isolating this sub-chassis from the outer cover. In fact, I think I can give you a look at that if I rotate this. So right there you can kind of see one of the new black rubber gaskets. And that's that goes from the outer chassis to the inner chassis, and that cuts down on hum by giving noise on the outer chassis a way to bleed off to the ground. That's what that cap's for. So anyway, that's pretty much it. There's a few other little things I did here and there where I fixed or cleaned up some of the wiring. I think I replaced one resistor, but overall it was mostly the capacitors. So now we get to do alignment. That's the next thing I'm going to get set up to do. So let me get that all set up and ready to go. And I'll flip the camera back on and I'll show you doing the alignment on the radio. Got the radio on, as you can see. And I'm going to adjust the camera here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so what we've got going on in here, and you can't see some of it, I don't think, with that camera angle. I might have to move the camera, but I wanted you to see the frequency counter back there. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 adjustments for the RF alignment. There's a capacitor pad down here, trimmer caps on the oscillator coil here, and trimmer caps over here on the preselector coil, or the front end filter. So I've already aligned the BFO. There's an adjustment right back here. There's a trimmer cap back here. I injected 455 kilohertz turned the BFO on and brought this down till I heard the tone. So until I zero beated it. So the BFO is aligned. So I'm going to use the BFO to do the RF alignment because it'll give me a nice, easy to find tone. So you can hear right there is the BFO. So what we do to do the RF alignment, we set the dial to 600 kilohertz. I've got, if you can see back here, 600 kilohertz are really close coming out of the signal generator. And the first adjustment we make is to the capacitor pad down there while we're on the AM band at 600 kilohertz. And I need to adjust this to bring this into 600. If I can get on it. I was afraid of that. Yeah, I'm going to have to figure out a different way, a different tool to get on here. Because I can't get that to turn with this. I don't have the right tool to turn this on the back side. Alternatively, I could put the radio on its side and get to those capacitors from the top of the radio, but I really want to just do it from this bottom edge. So let me get the proper tool to be able to adjust that capacitor, and we will go through the alignment. All right, well, I gave in. I don't have a tool to adjust that pad from the bottom, so I put the radio on its side. And no. All right, so let's get the dial right on 600, and we'll adjust the capacitor. For zero beat. Okay, now we move up to the top part of the band. At, let's see, AM, we go to 1.8 megahertz. So, put that at 1.8, get my signal generator. It's going to be a ways off. There's 1.8. Now I need to adjust this capacitor here. Can't be that far off. Wow. Yeah, that's 1.8. Oh. Yeah, well, I'm there. I mean, visually, I'm just I can't even see the dial really moving, so it's pretty much there. Okay, so let's go back to 600. Put the frequency generator back on 600. Okay, we're a little bit off. Tweak the capacitor. Okay, back up to 1.8. Yeah, okay. 1.801, so I'd say that's close enough for that band. All right, now we'll go to band 2. Now on band 2, we need to do the low end at 2.5 megahertz. So we'll get the frequency generator up to 2.5. And then we'll adjust the dial to 2.5. Wow, is that far off? Let's see. Okay, so where's that got us? .3, 2.5, that's way off. Let's go to the top end and see if we can compress the band down. So top end we want to be at 7. Yeah, the band is way out. Okay. Is that closer or further away? Well, we're right on 7, so okay. Let's go back down to 2.5. Going the wrong way. Well, an oscillator is just not spreading properly. I'm going to have to work on this for a little while. What the hell? Yep, all right. I'm going to have to work on this some more. I think I've got a problem in the oscillator circuit. So we're not quite there yet. Well, I guess it's going to be a 4-part video on this Echophone. I've got to figure out why the oscillator's not spreading properly on the upper bands. The AM broadcast band is working just fine, so the upper bands are just not spreading properly. I've got to figure that out. So, all right, well, stay tuned for part 3 on the Echophone. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, click to subscribe. Join us on the Facebook channel for discussion about the videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please click to support me on my Patreon page.